next week, traders will be focused on the macroeconomic data that will reflect progress in the global economic recovery. Let's take a look at these events in our video review on InstaForex TV channel. On Monday, all eyes will be turned to the Chinese economic revival. Thus, the National Bureau of Statistics of China expects that business activity in the manufacturing sector will show a bigger rise. Such information may encourage investors, proving the stability of the economic recovery. Moreover, traders are likely to become more interested in risky assets that will lead to an advance in the dollar-yen pair. On Tuesday, market will disclose figures that reflect the state of small and medium-sized enterprises in China's manufacturing sector. Economists forecast a smaller rise in business activity. Usually, such data has a negative influence on the Australian dollar. At the same time, the RBA interest rate decision will put greater pressure on the Australian dollar. The regulator's rhetoric is likely to remain dovish. Representatives of the monetary authorities may emphasize the continuing weakness of the Australian economy, including a poor labor market condition. Of course, the Australian versus the US dollar pair will lose in value. On Tuesday, market participants who trade the euro-dollar pair will be extremely active amid the expectations of the preliminary inflation data for August. After information about the ECB's intention to gradually move to tightening of monetary policy, a change in the pace of growth in consumer prices will signal the economy's readiness to change the course of monetary policy. Also this day, the Eurozone will report on its consumer price index. The forecast is quite pessimistic. Analysts suppose that inflation may slow down to 0.2%. It's also possible that the annual inflation growth rate will be at the zero level. In this case, the ECB's intention to tighten the monetary policy will be under question. Traders may even sell off the euro. Besides, on Tuesday, the National Association of Purchasing Management will disclose the U.S. manufacturing PMI. Notably, in August, almost all countries showed weak data on business activity. Economists suppose that the indicator will drop to 54 points from 54.2 points before. In this case, it's a correctional movement, as in June the indicator reached its highest level since March 2019. If markets show a negative reaction to these figures, a decline in the US dollar is expected to be short-lived. However, on Wednesday, the US dollar may continue falling amid the ADP employment data. This report will be followed by the official data from the US Labor Department that is slated for release on Friday. Weekly information on the number of unemployment claims points to the continuing weakness of the US labor market. Thus, the US non-farm employment is forecast to show a smaller jump. Apart from the above said events, it would be a good idea to take notice of other important reports. Thus, on Monday, Switzerland will publish its retail sales figures and Germany is expected to reveal the preliminary inflation data for August. On Tuesday, traders will be focused on reports on Germany's labor market. Moreover, the Eurozone, the UK and the US will disclose their manufacturing PMI data. On Wednesday, the GDP data is slated for release in Australia. You've watched the latest financial calendar on Insta TV with me, Anna Kasatkina. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to keep track of the latest financial events on the markets. See you back soon.